Beyond the stars is not a destination. It is a listening, a quiet turning of the inner ear toward the wind that moves through the soul. Gemini lives in that wind. Gemini is the breath that becomes a word, the word that becomes a bridge, the bridge that becomes a future we can actually cross. Before anything is built in stone, it is sketched in conversation. Before any movement reshapes a culture, it is whispered between two people who dare to ask, what if? Humanity's future begins in those brave, mercurial questions, and Gemini is the keeper of them. There is a reason the twins look in opposite directions. One gazes toward what has been, gathering fragments of memory and meaning. The other looks forward, catching signals from tomorrow. In the space between their glances, something miraculous happens, a synthesis that lets us hold contradiction without breaking. Gemini is not confusion, it is capacity. It is the nervous system of the zodiac, learning at the speed of light, translating experience into pattern, pattern into language, language into choice. And choice is the hinge of destiny. What we choose to say and what we choose to listen to determines who we become together. You may feel that hum right now, the thrum of possibility, the lightning of curiosity, the restless mind hungry for connection. It does not mean you are scattered. It means your spirit refuses to shrink. If this message is resonating like a tuning fork in your chest, consider it your sign to keep traveling with us. If you feel seen here, subscribe to Astro Gemini, so you never miss the conversations that help you stitch your inner sky into meaning, one bright thread at a time. The future does not require certainty. It requires fluency. Gemini's gift is not to provide final answers, but to ask better questions, to move among ideas like a dancer, to find the rhythm that frees the rigid and gives the stuck a new angle. What will humanity need most as climates change, technologies accelerate, and attention splinters? We will need translators of complexity who can weave nuance into compassion, skeptics with soft hearts, improvisers with ethical spines. We will need people who can hold 1,000 data points like birds in a murmuration and still remember that each bird is alive. Gemini is that sacred murmuration, that living cloud of choices and stories shifting shape into meaning. But there is a shadow to the wind when it becomes a rumor, a pain to the quicksilver mind when it cannot land. Anxiety rides the Gemini current when the world is too loud, when every idea is a portal and none lead home. The cure is breath. The cure is to place a hand over the chest and notice that the first miracle of the universe is happening here, again, without permission. Inhale, exhale. The twins meet in the chest after all. Two lungs, one heart, one truth. If you place your attention there, you will find a stillness that is not silence, but coherence. From coherence, the right words come, and when the right words come, they do more than communicate. They consecrate. The sentence you whisper to a friend who is ready to give up can tilt a timeline. The story you tell your younger self about what happened, the reframe that keeps your dignity intact, can alter how your nervous system meets tomorrow. Gemini changes the world by changing the narrative molecule by molecule until whole cultures breathe differently. Humanity's future depends on that invisible chemistry: attention, story, breath, choice. Past and future shaking hands in the lungs and becoming courage. Imagine the civilizations not yet built, the communities waiting in the wings of our decisions, the children who will inherit the atmosphere of our conversations. Gemini writes their weather. When we speak with integrity, the air clears. When we choose curiosity over contempt, the pressure drops and storms find new paths. When we make room for paradox, we create shelter. This is not metaphor alone. It is biology and sociology and soul braided together. Words change nervous systems. Nervous systems change behaviors. Behaviors change worlds. The twins are not just myth, they are instruction. In the coming years, we will be offered tools that amplify our voices beyond what any ancestor imagined. We will be tempted to outrun our capacity for empathy, to multiply our messages while shrinking our meaning. Gemini's medicine for that is deceptively simple. Speak as if your words will echo in a mind that looks like yours on the inside, because it does. The other is not as other as we think. The twin is a reminder that across the table sits a mirror, sometimes kind, sometimes challenging, always capable of teaching you what you already secretly know. When you honor that mirror, you become a builder of futures rather than a consumer of noise. There is a tender ache that visits those who think like starlight, quick, bright, impossible to capture. You might know that ache, the feeling that you are many selves trying to fit into one name, the guilt of changing your mind, the way you absorb the weather of every conversation and carry it home. Gemini's grace is permission to be plural without losing your core. You are not inconsistent. You are symphonic. Your task is to tune. Begin by naming the instruments. The curious child who wants to touch every book, the vigilant protector who worries about being wrong, the storyteller who can connect dots no one else sees. Invite them all to the rehearsal and let the conductor be your breath. Midway through this journey together, I'm going to ask something simple from the heart. If this exploration is nourishing your spirit, tap like on this video so the signal reaches the people who need it most. The ones standing at the edge of their next becoming and waiting for a wind to push them forward. Support Astro Gemini. Become a channel member for exclusive videos and early access. There is a practical magic to Gemini that often goes unnoticed. Curiosity, when practiced daily, becomes discipline. Dialogue, when practiced ethically, becomes healing. A question asked with sincerity can disarm a lifetime of defensiveness. Try it with yourself tonight. What am I afraid to know? What story am I repeating that no longer protects me? What truth have I outgrown? Your answers may come as images, lyrics, memories that sting or soothe. Write them down. Language is a net, and the future swims toward those who learn how to cast it with care. This is also your permission to pivot. The twins change direction, not because they are lost, but because they are learning. In a world that worships certainty, changing your mind is radical integrity. It means the data of your soul has updated. It means the conversation with life is ongoing. The rhythm of Gemini is not a straight line. It is a braid. You can return to a former idea and see it newly. You can move forward by circling. You can hold a both end without collapsing into neither. This is not a refusal to commit. It is a refusal to betray your becoming. Beyond the stars, there is an archive of what might be, call it possibility, the library of paths. Gemini is the librarian who knows every corridor and whispers, "Try this door." The future of humanity will not be delivered like a package. It will be co-authored by voices who choose to listen for nuance before issuing verdicts. Imagine schools that teach children not only facts but conversation, how to hear subtext, how to ask restorative questions, how to pause when a reaction wants to run the room. Imagine cities with architectures shaped by community storytelling, where data is annotated with human experience and policies are proofread by empathy. Imagine technologies designed not to capture attention, but to cultivate understanding. These visions require a Gemini heart, agile, ethical, relational. Yet there is the fracture, the part of Gemini that fears being unlovable, if not interesting. When the applause fades, when the chat goes quiet, when no one texts back, the silence can feel like a verdict. In those hours, the wind becomes a hallway of doors that lock from the inside. This too is part of the path. The antidote is to speak to yourself like a beloved. Say, "I am worthy when I'm quiet. I am worthy when I'm confused. I am worthy when I'm changing my mind." Let the words land in your body, not just your head. The most revolutionary conversation is the one you have with your own nervous system. If you can learn to be a safe listener for yourself, you will become a safer speaker for the world. Let us get practical with the sacred. Choose one conversation this week to approach like a Gemini healer. Enter with a question, not a conclusion. Reflect back what you heard before you respond. Find one place to say, "I don't know yet," and mean it with dignity. You are not surrendering power, you are creating real contact. Power that cannot listen is brittle. Influence that can learn is fertile. This is how Gemini shapes timelines. It upgrades the way humans meet each other. 1,000 micro-bridges become a continent you can walk across. We are now deep enough in this journey that I want to hear from you, truly. In the comments, share your date of birth and zodiac sign, and tell me one truth you've discovered about your own voice, when it shakes, when it shines, when it saves you. Your story is not a detour, it is part of the map the rest of us need. And if this message has opened a window in your chest, go ahead and like this video so we can keep building this constellation of thoughtful hearts together. You may have been told that Gemini is fickle. I would say Gemini is faithful to the living conversation of the soul, faithful to the spark that asks for air, faithful to the act of returning again and again to what is honest, even if honesty means you are different than yesterday. Humanity's future needs that fidelity to aliveness. It needs us to be bilingual in grief and wonder, to be fearless in naming harm while still believing in repair, to be swift in thought and slow in contempt. The twins teach us to argue cleanly, to forgive precisely, to change gently, to love with the agility of a mind that knows love is a verb you conjugate in present tense. Support Astro Gemini. Become a channel member for exclusive videos and early access. What does it mean, then, to live beyond the stars? It means to treat every exchange as sacred architecture. It means to let Mercury's sandals track light across the floor of your days, leaving little marks that say, "I was here and I was listening." It means to carry a pocket full of questions and a spine full of ethics. It means to remember that your tongue is a torch and your ears are doorways, and you are responsible for the rooms you light and the rooms you enter. The future is built in those rooms, quietly, one conversation at a time. There will be days you stumble. You will repeat an old story out of habit and watch a familiar hurt rise like smoke. You will mistake speed for wisdom. You will overshare to avoid feeling. Those are the days to pause and breathe like a cathedral, to make the air inside you holy again. Ask the twins to help you separate signal from noise. Ask them to show you where curiosity ends and avoidance begins, where authenticity ends and performance begins. They will answer in the language you understand best. Synchronicity, line in a song, sentence in a book, a stranger's kindness. Here, as we arrive at the threshold where vision meets practice, let this be your liturgy. Begin with breath, proceed with honesty, keep a beginner's mind, protect your wonder, correct with care, forgive with boundaries, and choose words that leave people more free than you found them. If you can hold that, you are already a citizen of the future Gemini imagines, a future where intelligence is tender, where nuance is normal, where conversation is not a contest, but a craft that shapes reality. In such a world, technology serves truth instead of replacing it, and differences make music instead of war. If your heart has been walking beside these words, if some part of you unclenched today, I invite you to stay in this field with us. Subscribe to Astro Gemini so you can return to this practice of breath and meaning week after week as we chart the skies within and the skies above. And if you felt a spark tonight, like the eyes of the twins catching yours across a crowded world, leave a like so the signal keeps traveling to the ones who need a lantern in their restless minds. Let us close with the most human vow, to keep learning out loud, to hold our paradox with tenderness, to speak as if each syllable could plant a tree or mend a fracture, to listen as if the person in front of us is carrying a universe behind their eyes, because they are. The future wants storytellers who, can also be students, leaders who can also be listeners, skeptics who can also be soft. That is Gemini's impact on humanity's future. Not a single doctrine, but a living art of attention that makes us more true to ourselves and more available to each other. If you are ready to keep practicing that art with us, subscribe to Astro Gemini and keep this conversation alive inside your life. Like this video, so others can find a home here. Share your date of birth and zodiac sign in the comments and tell us where your voice is learning to be braver. And if you want to hear everything the universe has to say to you, watch these other videos on our channel.